sides. Robert, good to see you.
You too.
Welcome into Shane's Rib Shack and Northern Guilford Nighthawks. What has this Nighthawk experience meant to you the past couple of years?
You know, it's meant a whole lot. It's kind of hard to explain. You know, just a band of brothers coming together. There's nothing like it.
You guys stick together pretty close. What is it about the bond among the teammates? Because sometimes teammates develop rivalries with each other within the team, and sometimes there's some friction here or there, but it seems like this group travels well.
That's right. I mean, when we're on the field, you know, we just do our thing, and we off the field, you know, we have fun, and it's just nothing like it.
How about yourself? Last year, you had a little stretch last year. You had to leave the team. Injury? Did you get injured last year?
Yeah, I actually tore my ACL.
Were you out for the year last year?
It was the third playoff game, so I couldn't play in the championship.
What was that feeling like? I mean, you've gone that long with the team, and you get busted up. You had to leave the team and can't finish up. That had to be tough.
It was pretty devastating, but I had to come back and just show that I could overcome it.
How about the senior year? What's this been like for you?
It's been a good ride, you know. We've come far so far, but we still got a few more games to go.
And let me ask you this, ask the other players about this too. In some ways, some people might say, the close observers, outside observers may not even pay attention to it. In some ways you may look at this team and say, these guys might be even in some ways better than they were in the other years they won championships. Even with TJ Logan, even going back to Rocco Scarfone, Maurice Harris, I haven't mentioned Maurice, I mentioned him, mentioned all those guys with you guys before. This team might be better. In what ways could you guys be better this year?
You know, I mean, we just got to keep on setting the tradition, just go all the way this year.
What would it mean to get that fourth ring? Because you're a captain also, right?
Yes, sir.
That's a big responsibility too. What would it mean to get that ring?
You know, it would mean a lot, and I don't want to do anything other than that. We got to get that fourth one for sure.
We talked about making that tackle. If you're the first to the ball, we talked to TJ about this a little bit earlier. If you're the first guy to the ball, who do you expect to see there right after you get there to the ball, making that big tackle?
You know, either TJ Ruff will be right there with me, or any of the defensive.
What about Rittberger? We got to get him in there too, right?
Yeah, Chris will definitely be there. You know, all of us swarm to it.
You got a good linebacking core, and you got a lot of seniors. Earlier players are telling us this. They feel like in the future this team is going to be good, but it seems like you guys are going to lose. I mean, we hope you're going to be good in the future too, but it seems like there's a lot of seniors and a lot of veteran leadership on this team. What's it going to be like in the future for this club down the road?
I mean, they definitely have a bright future, you know. Our offense is still young, but all of our linebackers are seniors, so we'll lose all of them. But our D-line is young as well. You
know, it's crazy because you talk on a good point there. Last year, coming into this year, it was the fact you guys lost the defensive linemen. I mean, you lost the guys up front. You lost Scott Johnston up front, actually Ryan Johnston up front. You lost a ton of guys up front from last year. Trey Purcell was up there some too. You lost guys up front from last year, but it didn't really hurt you that bad.
You know, we had a few young players, Nick Fryer, Jeremiah.
You mentioned Nick Fryer, and he was up there too, yeah.
And Matt McGarry as well. He had to step up in my position. Yeah,
because he got you last. It was exactly right, because last year when you got hurt, we were doing those playoff games, and you went down, and Matt McGarry stepped in, did a very good job for you.
Yeah, he stepped up big. He was a freshman, and so he's playing DN this year. He's made a lot of plays.
And you look at Austin Coltrane. What does this Coltrane kid's leadership mean? He goes, he's kind of got a happy-go-lucky personality, kind of carries himself well. What does he mean to this team?
You know, I mean, he's definitely one of the main leaders on the team. You know, he carries our offense, and we started passing a lot more this year. You know, he's helped us do that.
If he went down, who would you guys look to? I mean, it's heaven forbid, but he went down last year. He went back to Sindab last year. Then
that's right.
Austin came back, took over again. But if Austin went down now, who would you guys look to, and who do you look to in the future? Because that's when the guy does finally graduate and move on, it's going to be a pretty big loss.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's tough, but you know, we have a few players that could probably fill that role. Probably Cam when he comes back, but he got hurt this year, as well as Moot.
Good athletes, both those guys you mentioned. Who do you see as a franchise, face of the franchise of the school?
Face of the franchise, I'd probably say Coach Thomas and Coach Roscoe.
Kind of a combination between the two?
Yeah, combination.
What have you learned from Coach Thomas this year, since Coach Roscoe gave you guys a lot when he was there? What have you learned from Coach Thomas?
Well, you know, he's my position coach, and he's taught me a lot. You know, he's just taught me to be a better man, both on and off the field. And he's taught me a lot about the game of football and just keeping my head up and, you know, just a bond. He's created a bond between
all of us. There's not a lot of time, though. You guys spend so much time playing football. You don't have a whole lot of time off the field. What do you do in your spare time away from football? Any other hobbies or things like that? Anything you can do?
Not really. It's just all around sports, you know, playing football, watching football, and just spending time with all my brothers on the field.
How about you look at the overall situation? Coach Roscoe, when he was there, what is some part of him that's still with you guys even today, and probably may even be with you guys when you move on, not even at Northern anymore? What did he ingrain in you guys you take with you and keep with you?
We still have the same tradition, just the winning tradition, and just keeping the winning tradition alive.
Yeah, I mean, some guys will say this occasionally. Sometimes they mean it, sometimes they don't. But I think you guys probably mean it because you stick so close together. You ever go out and say, I'm going to win one of these games for Coach Roscoe because he gave us so much. I want to keep winning for this guy and keep working for this guy.
We definitely do it for him and past players,
Yeah, I was going to ask you, who else do you do it for, too?
I do it for my family and all my friends and everybody that supports us.
I ran into your dad a couple of times those Northern games, maybe past couple of years. Very dedicated fan.
Indeed.
You got a mentor that kind of brought you along because you've been there so long now. You probably have to go back a few years. Somebody to help train you, bring you in as far as one of the players goes?
I've had a few different mentors. Daniel Downey definitely taught me a lot, and as well as Mark Mitchell. When I was a freshman, he just kind of took me in and showed me the way.
Have you got any young guys you're kind of helping out now, kind of bringing these kids along? Because like you say, you want to not only take something with you, but sometimes it's not as important as what you take with you, it's what you leave behind when you're gone. Are you trying to bring somebody along too?
Yeah, we have a few young linebackers that, I'm trying to tell them what to do because they're going to have to step up next year when we leave.
Who are some of these guys?
We have Kyle Kwashi, he's a sophomore, and as well as Hunter Wade, he's a sophomore.
Some of those names not too familiar to us, so those are guys going to have to really step up and get big in the future too. Who's the defensive playmaker? You look toward this defense. Who sets the stage? Who sets the tone? Maybe not the loudest player, but who is the guy that's really the playmaker getting the job done?
I'd probably say Chris.
Chris Ripberger.
Chris and Mook. Yeah.
Chris and also Mook Reynolds. And Chris is a leader too on and off the field as well.
Yeah, he is.
What's your favorite class over at Northern Guilford? What academically? Any favorite classes there? Maybe a favorite teacher?
I'd probably say AP Psychology. It's pretty interesting.
What are you guys breaking down in there these days?
We just learn stuff about like the brain and like how it works and all that.
Speaking about the brain and football kind of go together too as far as these injuries go. You mentioned your injury last year, but injuries, is that ever a concern about for these football players, about these head injuries? Because you study some of that now, I guess, in psychology too.
Concussions are a pretty big deal. You can't take them lightly, but...
Who's the hardest hit you've ever taken from it? Who hit you the hardest over the years?
The hardest hit? Probably my freshman year. I used to get hit a lot by, like, Maurice. He used to hit me a few
Maurice
times.
Harris, pretty good blows with him.
Yeah.
So you're playing defense, he's playing the offensive side of the ball there then. Thinking about Eastern Guilford, what's your assignment, your big role going to be in that game tomorrow as far as you go individually? You know the team's got a big game plan to kind of win the game, get the first playoff victory. What about yourself individually? What do you got to do?
I just got to step up on defense, and we got to set the tone right away. We just got to read the line and fill gaps and just make tackles.
Got any numbers? You ever do any numbers goals? I want to make 10 tackles. I want to make 6, 7, whatever. Do you use those goals too?
I just want to make as many tackles as I can. Just try to help out the team.
Do you try to be at the ball every time? I mean, we talk about getting to the ball, swarming to the ball defensively, and getting there along with the rest of the team. Is that a goal for yours as well?
Yeah, definitely.
How about these ACC teams? Any favorites there? I mean, we got the State, we got the Duke, we got the Wake, we got the North Carolina. We also got on the outside East Carolina. Any of those teams favorites?
NC State is probably my favorite team. I'm a diehard fan, even though they're struggling right now.
Tough game a couple of weeks ago. Did you watch that game?
State and Carolina?
Yeah.
I actually went to that with Mook on a recruiting visit.
Both of you on recruiting visit there?
He was on one.
Yeah. So that was in Raleigh too, right?
Yes, sir.
That's interesting too. So Mr. Reynolds might be looking at NC State.
Possibly.
Maybe they're looking at him too. Yeah. What about yourself? What do you do next year with this football deal? When the deal at Northern's over, do you try to continue that deal and play some more next year?
I'll probably just focus on college academically.
Where are you going to go?
I'm thinking about either NC State, because both my parents went there, or South Carolina.
So if you don't go to NC State to play football, you would love to be a student there anyway?
Yeah, definitely.
Academics, we talked about the teaching side of things, these guys a lot tonight. We talked about your favorite teacher in psychology already. What about a female teacher at Northern that could take over this football team, coach this team, and you guys would still win all 5 playoff games? Is there a female teacher that can make this thing go?
I guess I'm going to have to go with Miss Thomas because I can't really see anybody else.
What about Coach Furlow? I mean, I haven't mentioned Coach Furlow tonight. She's fairly tall. She could be maybe a possible defensive end if necessary with a height. Maybe she could teach. But Mrs. Thomas has got it hands down.
Yeah, Miss Furlow could definitely do it too, but she's basketball, so can't really see her doing that.
I'm just trying to think of some other options.
I just can't see a girl coaching.
Yeah.
No offense.
I wonder about that. Yeah, I just wonder about if a woman could. Do you have any girls at your school that might be able to be football players? Any young ladies?
There's a few.
Athletes or just larger girls?
Both.
All possibilities there then. Carolina Panthers fan?
Yeah. I went to a game a few weeks ago.
Favorite pro team or another pro team?
Either them or the Chargers.
Who's your favorite Panthers player?
Probably Luke Kuechly.
So like the linebacker, kind of watch what he does?
He's definitely underrated. But
he is what, number 59?
Yep.
Gotcha. That's the thing, numbers, big numbers game. Your number, I'm going to tell you your number, and I've got it in my brain right now, number 7, right?
Yes, sir.
How'd you pick that number? Smaller number. I mean, I always ask these guys about this. You see a defensive end wearing 7 or defense. I think Trey Purcell used to wear the number 2. Well, what the world are these guys? Used to be like your defensive ends would be like maybe a 58, 59. Whatever. I mean, as far as a 7 goes, or small, how did you get those numbers?
Daniel Downey used to wear that a few years ago, and I thought he's one of my good friends, so I carried it on.
Hey, good friend, and plus now when he was wearing that number, what number were you wearing then?
I was wearing 25.
Was it tough to make the switch?
Nah, not really.
I wonder about some guys. Sometimes a guy gets a number, he will not ditch his number, but that number 7 meant a lot to you.
Yeah, it definitely means a lot.
Still keep up with Mr. Downey these days?
Yeah, I talk to him like at least once a week.
Once a week? You guys go by text or phone call? How does that work?
Both.
Yeah. Tell him the next time you talk to him. Are you going to talk to him maybe soon this week sometime?
Yeah, I'll probably talk to him this
week. Tell him he should have been here tonight. We would have had him on board. He should have been here this evening.
I'll be sure to tell him.
Robert Wilcox with us, Northern Guilford Nighthawks. Big game against Eastern Guilford tomorrow night. And what does it mean to be a captain of this team, being the leader?
It means a lot. We got to be leaders on the field and just help these younger people because, we got to tell them what to do sometimes. And
what record do you, now somebody comes up and asks the record, we have already inquired about this with some of your teammates, if they ask you what your record was or is, let's go is, no was, you want to do the was world and do your, like December 15th, that's down the road. If they ask you what your record is today, what do you tell them?
I say undefeated.
That's a smart move. Don't have to even throw any numbers in there. Just say unbeaten, undefeated.
Undefeated on the field.
Yeah, almost 40 straight wins.
It should be. Yep.
What has all this meant to you since you've been doing this Northern Guilford football thing the past couple of years? What has it meant to you as an individual coming through high school?
It just means a lot, being a football player for Northern Guilford. You can't really explain it.
How about tradition? Got any routine or tradition, things you do on Friday? Maybe you guys do some things as a team, some things you may do as an individual.
Mm-hmm. We have, we eat before, and then we have a team meal, and we get tape, and I just listen to music and just get in my zone.
Got a favorite T-shirt, a favorite shirt, maybe a favorite cap, anything you wear to school on Friday, maybe a favorite meal you eat before the game at home?
No, not really.
Not too much routine-oriented then?
Nah.
But we would see you probably at NC State next year if college works out right.
Yes, sir.
What's your goal tomorrow night in that game going in? What do you want to do?
I just want to play to the best of my ability and just don't get hurt and hopefully make 10 or more tackles.
Yes, 10 or more tackles. Good goal to have going in. Does that injury from last year ever play into your mind any?
It don't really play into my mind, but it's definitely like sore after the games.
Mm-hmm. So there's still a little lingering soreness there sometimes. It kind of brings back those shades. But probably this year, the soreness, you just got to block that out, keep playing, because you probably wouldn't do anything to give up a chance to go through this run this year.
No, sir. I wouldn't give up anything for it.
This is the end of the line. Robert Wilcox with us, Shane's Rib Shack for a Thursday night. Robert, good to talk to you.
You too.
So to your dad for us, somebody's done an outstanding job getting you ready for that game, and he did it at home, and Coach Thomas did it on the field.
Yep.
Good luck to you.
Appreciate it.